Today's day 382 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor an upcoming day or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. We very greatly appreciate it. Today we're doing Siman Reis Sama Gimel, Sif Tes Zayin. Excuse me. Siman Reis Sama Gimel, Sif Chav Beis. And of course, we're still talking about Had Lokas Neiros on the Erev Shabbos. Okay, so yesterday we left off kind of on a cliffhanger. Which is the Tezvav, the Rav HaShulchan said to end it with the Divrei Tzrichim Biur, in terms of when Kabbalah Shabbos is at Lokas Neiros, when tonight is required, not tonight with Torah required. Tezai, B'nei Lidach Ibushim, B'nei Lidasa Bahag, have a Lokas Neiros Kabbalah Shabbos Chol B'nei Bais. According to Bahag, Lokas Neiros Shabbos is Kabbalah to all the members of the house. We Tam Shebianu. Sif Yudalid, for the reason which we explained that Sif Yudalid, this was supposed to be the last malacha, permitted malacha on Erev Shabbos, was Halakas Neiros. Immediately afterwards begins Shabbos. Just like Mr. Shabbos is a Kabbalah for the people of the city when most of the city accepted at that point. The in every house in which they're lighting candles have a Kabbalah Shabbos Chol B'nei Bayis. That is Kabbalah Shabbos for all the members of the household. Tonight but a condition works. Why shouldn't it work? Since she stipulates explicitly that she doesn't have a mind to be Makabel Shabbos through this lighting. Nevertheless, tonight. Some people say that the condition does not work. By the time came because there's a bracha involved here. And the bracha, regardless of their intent, necessarily brings them to Kedusha Shabbos. Shel Shabbos, because she mentions to light the candles of Shabbos. If it's not the candles of Shabbos, because Shabbos is not beginning, it's a bracha batola, right? Of only Elitam, also says Arukh HaShulchan seems to be, they came to the Bahag, he says, Zos Takara. Since according to Bahag, this was a Takara. Let's my place for a second. Came Bahag said Takaras Chum should have Lokas on there, Malach Roy Lamatias, Bezek Kabbalah Shabbos. Oh, well, that's what I mentioned before. I thought that's what he was referring to before, but evidently what he was referring to before was actually that the bracha is what should make a Kabbalah Shabbos, or it's a bracha batola, and now he's saying it's supposed to be the last malacha. Matia b'zeh Kabbalah Shabbos. It should be the receiving Shabbos. Therefore, any other bichoto lotias at some mizal p to know. Therefore, an individual should not be allowed to remove himself from this concept based on the stipulation. Because of the shitas of Bahag. All this is true according to Bahag. Yudzayin. Hamdam atur b'shem ateisus v'ramban choko Bahag mikra dover. They have a fundamental machlekes of the Bahag. L'sfilei they hold me lying on lokas aner the Kabbalah Shabbos. Lighting a candle is not juxtaposed or linked to Kabbalah Shabbos. The Gamatzinu Shlachai lokas aner tumas l'chaim sukkos atfilin. There was a fine precedent in that after lighting the candles, they would still put the hot dishes in insulation and remove the tefillin. Shabbos Taf Lamed Name of base, according to Rabbi Nosson there. The brackets he says, Yavayin Shamaram B'Shem Ramban. Some people even write the fish afterwards. When this opinion, it comes out that it was one of the malachas which were prepared for Shabbos, not the ultimate malacha before Shabbos. They have an opinion that holds it was last malacha. Nevertheless, it's one of the many or several malachas, so therefore, even though it's the last in sequence, it doesn't necessarily immediately lead to Shabbos. Ain't no Kabbalah Shabbos. You're making a bracha. What difference does that make? A bracha al takona shetikon al likner Shabbos. The brachas on takona they made to light Shabbos candles. Maze in Kabbalah Shabbos. It's on the mitzvah, not on nothing to do with Kabbalah Shabbos. That should take effect with the bracha. Yuches v'meina kushkas Rabbeinu Ramah who can achra bein adeos. What kind of tries to reconcile, and to reconcile is the right term, is kind of like taking the middle ground between the two opinions. The Vadai, you look me by saying, look, it's there in a couple of Shabbos. The rest of the members of the household, lighting candles, is not for them imposed the Shabbos. Avam Alekes Batzah, the woman who lights herself, came she mereches, she makes the bracha, mazkeres Shabbos, she imagines Shabbos, we stome, kibla Shabbos. We assume she is accepted by herself the additional moments of Shabbos with this lighting. He never finished unless she stipulated explicitly. Va'afilu b'leiv sagi, but the stipulation can even be in her heart. It doesn't have to be verbalized. V'gam ikar b'neo shel HaShulchan. And furthermore, the primary halacha is anyway the candles on the table. Even those obligations to light, even in rooms in which they do not eat, as we have written. Nevertheless, the primary candles are those which are on the table, in front of which you eat the Suda Shabbos. They are the honor of Shabbos. That which the Shulchan Aruch writes not to light in one place and place it down in another place. Explains if you die, this respect the Ner Shabbos like the Ner Chanukah, it's got to be in its proper place. What's called this place? And the place where he wants the candle to stand that night. But moving from one side room to another side room, that the Arukh HaShulchan says is not considered to be a changing its spot. What does Mishabura say here? If you light in a house, in a place where people are going to use the candle, you can later carry them to another place, because the entire house is its mokum. The Levush is obviously they can't before Shabbos. Levush is macher even in this case. He says mokum atzorach yesh lahakel. Necessary you can remake it. Okay, back to Arukh HaShulchan. On the makom dachilu, the primary place, regardless, is the place you eat. You should really make the bracha there with the candles that are going to stand at the time of the meal. How come after? How does she carry the candles anyway after she lights? It's before Shabbos, somebody else can carry it. Tonight, she herself can carry it by a condition or stipulation. So it should not, nevertheless, take it outside a room, but in the same room would be okay. Mishabura says that if there are several women who are lighting, and none of them have their own independent tables, I guess it's one table for all of them, she can make the bracha on the candles which are in the house in other places. And so to a guest who has a room for himself, even if he's not eating there, he can make the bracha there, and light there and make the bracha there. Yutes. Most poskim, a stipulation works by Lavlaka. I feel that's a Bahag, and even according to the Bahag, holds Shadloka Havi Kabbalah Shabbos, much better that light candle is the acceptance of Shabbos, as we have explained. Nevertheless, feel Lo Mahani Tnai. For diving, the condition doesn't work. Can you go to Kadam Hayachim Yispalish Shabbos Miba Yoim? If an individual daven Shabbos, davening before nightfall, even though the community has not davened yet, by davening, they devolved upon him Shabbos, and he's immediately forbidden to do malacha. Shabbos even says, I don't want to accept Shabbos. It doesn't work. Came she's Paulo, Arvis, Shel Shabbos, since he davened the Marav Shabbos, Ubirech Mekadesh HaShabbos. He made the bracha Mekadesh HaShabbos in Shemon Esrei. But Akochel Kibach Shabbos, regardless of whether he's kicking or screaming, Shabbos he would accept it upon himself. Zel Kamish Yomer Balayla, it's like somebody who says at night, when Shabbos is going to be on a rain, and he wrote to the Kabbalah Shabbos, I don't accept the Shabbos. It says, it seems to me, wow. Even if it's kind of plag, if you daven Magriv, you should have davened. It's a Marav Atola, but you were Kabbalah Shabbos. That's a big kiddush. Amshi is bar. Shebesim Reish Samach Shabbos. Chem Besim Reish Samach Zayin she'en lasos Tosefes Kodim Shabbos. Kodim Plag. Even though you're not supposed to make Tosefes Shabbos before Plag. It's not appropriate to do that. Okay, here's the very big Chiddush of Arukh HaShulchan. If you did it, you did it. Wow. Who's going to stop him? I always thought there was a shira for Tosefes. You can't go to the Plaga Mincha. Does the Arukh HaShulchan know? You can't go to the Plaga Mincha. Nobody's going to stop him. That's a big Chiddush. We should say it's that before it doesn't work. 36, I think it is. So Mishnah Berurah says it's only after Plag Taka. That's the way I always assume that after the Plag Mincha, it's already considered to be. Before Plag Mincha, you can't add on to Shabbos. So that's the Mishnah Berurah says. Arukh HaShulchan is astounded at the Arukh HaShulchan about this. Wow. When you say Mizra Shil Shabbos Chadodi, that is Kabbalah Shabbos, even before Plag. Wow, that is a major machlekes. So explicitly doesn't want to accept Shabbos. Mo'il, that's effective. There's no tefillah u'bracha levatola because even though he said he doesn't want to mikabel because he didn't daven, and the bracha goes on the takana of lighting candles. Also, he says before Plaga Mincha, he doesn't want to kabbalah even with tefillah. Perhaps it's not even a kabbalah. No. If he says before Plaga Mincha, perhaps it's not a kabbalah. No, perhaps even without stipulation. In other words, even he said the bracha without stipulation. Before Plaga Mincha, Mistam Das is not Kabbalah Shabbos. But B'tfilah Pshita Davi Kabbalah. By davening, it's possible that it is considered to be a Kabbalah Shabbos. And evidently, the word in fact, Kadmonim used to daven 3 hours before nightfall, and according to everybody, the Makabah and would accept the Shabbos by themselves. So I, several times in the past few Simanim, understood that when the Arukh HaShulchan says up to 2 hours before Shkia, he's talking about the Magen Avram, second Shkia, not Be'otam, second Shkia, because before the first Shkia, it's before Plag, it's going to work. That is because I was brought up in the Mishnah Berurah. There's no Kabbalah Shabbos before Plag. But the Arukh HaShulchan says, no, it's Kabbalah Shabbos before Plag. Then we can stop you from doing it. And therefore, even 2 or 3 hours before Shkia, even before it's well before Plag, it would be Tosefes Shabbos, at least the Chumrah for that person. Okay, big chidushim today. Chav, im rova kol shebeis hakneses kiblu Shabbos aleim. In most of the community in the shul accepted Shabbos. Final shomu chadoidi. They said chadoidi, but achar Plag Mincha, it was after Plag. Gam amir shlo yu bebeis hakneses, and all the minority was not in shul. Nim shachim imahem, they're drawn after them. Basurim b'melacha, they're forbidden to melacha. The klalu damim nim shach harov, because the general principle is that the minority is drawn after the majority. Says the Mishnah Berurah, that's only the majority of people were in shul. The majority of people were not in shul, then the rest of the community is not drawn after the minority who were in shul. Our basic necessity, but it's only each shul in and of itself. Even in the shul which they accept Shabbos is the mightiest, greatest, biggest shul in the city. Nevertheless, called basic necessity, every shul is its own community for this purpose. Basic necessity, therefore, somebody comes to shul, Shabbos, while the kilo is ready, being Kabbalah Shabbos, who lois by the mincha yet, lois by mincha, so basic necessity, shouldn't have mincha in that shul. Because there, the Kedusha Shabbos has devolved. Chutza basic necessity usually go outside the shul, ba'azara, into the courtyard, or cheres hamachlo, or a room next to the shul, b'ispalo, shul mincha, chakak goes basic necessity, and only then go to the shul down Kabbalah Shabbos. Maybe you say hakidam in the weekly davening, hooray, gam of love Kedusha Shabbos by the Kabbalah community also enter Kedusha Shabbos. Yesh lomar, we can say the chumra chol love losu malacha. It was the valid point of Mechumra that he can't do malacha. But not lakula that exempt him from having weekly shmerasei. But that's only if he didn't accept Shabbos with them. If he didn't remember he didn't daven the Kibo Shabbos, he wouldn't accept the Shabbos with him. He himself accepted Shabbos by himself. He can't daven weekly daven anymore. It's about Arbish time shel Shabbos. Rather, you should daven 2 shmoneses for Mariv. Then Shachar l'Ispal b'Simukov Ches Layin Sham. Like some of you forgot to daven. Chafar v'Zeu sheba b'Amiras HaTzibur Chodoidi. That's he comes to the Tzibur saying Chodoidi Abami Koydem. But it becomes before that. I feel bad. Ace Amiras Hamiz Meirim Shechem Chodoidi. Even they're saying that the Yom Kabbalah Shabbos. Shenog Lomram, which is the custom to say those Tehillim. Yachas b'Amircha G'Amircha V'Shil Dei She Moshe T'V'Sar Echad Kabbalah Shabbos. You can daven mincha start then, even though you know it's going to be draw after Chadaidi or Mizar Shirk or Baruch Kem Shis Chabeter because you started Beheter. Yeshu Shemar those who say the Dafka Sheh Samo Sover Shigma Kabbalah Shabbos. You can only start if you know you're going to finish before them. I can see what's Kabbalah Shabbos. You'll do it Shelo Yigmar Le'Eschil. But if he knows that you won't finish, you shouldn't start. For long Yerekein, Arukh HaShulchan disagrees with this. That's the task, but Arukh HaShulchan doesn't like it. It's not one of the cases where I've been at the start davening. Eli he doing ba'alma, just to hither not to clash. That's the primary halacha. Still, if you want to daven elsewhere, not in the shul where they stay in the l'chun and all that stuff, you certainly can. We can't compel you to do so. Mishmur does say, however, nevertheless, it's better to leave the shul under those circumstances. When I was learning Ner Yisrael was a place in which there was only one minyan on an early on the Kabbalah Shabbos early, and there the psak was nobody can do malacha after the tzibur of Kabbalah Shabbos. It was an isolated campus. Now Ner Yisrael in Baltimore now longer is no more an isolated campus. Once upon a time it was. And therefore, there was that was the city. So therefore, once in Kabbalah Shabbos, that's it. But in almost any community today, the Kabbalah Shabbos of the of one shul has nothing to do with Kabbalah Shabbos in another shul. And even according to Moshe Feinstein, if there is one shul in the town, if you're not davening in that shul, you're not nigger after that shul, which is not like the minute was in Ner Yisrael, because according to Moshe, she tells us that there's no such thing as a unified community today in America. At least in America, I assume that's so as well. Okay, Chabes. Ufi mashis bar da yachid nigar achar rabbin. According to that, we just said that an individual is drawn after the masses. Be based knesset shul of his own shul. Ufi said according to this, she's stopping basic knesset shul mispal on kvar kibbutz Shabbos. So the question is, if in the shul where he is, they're makabel Shabbos. Vu'adayim bebeisam and he's still in his house. V'nesar b'melacha. And he's ready to do shul melacha because he's part of that shul. He got me the base on that melacha. Are the members of his household, his wife and kids, also melacha, because they're nigar after him, was nigar after the shul. They're drawn after him, was drawn after the shul. Vimlo, he's legal bad base on there as a dime, and therefore, if they hadn't yet lit candles in that house, assume not leak. They can't light. The nigar charba bais. They're drawn after the household. Ultimately, they say the Raku Asur Malacha. He's the only one forbidden to do work at this point. But they basically return, but other members' households are permitted. The Damas Mashis Barsi Ches is not like what it said in Sifu Ches, the Isha Shalika Kibla Shabbos, woman who light, come Kabbalah Shabbos, Chobane Basin return Melachin, all other members' household can still do work. The Isha and Shabbos Nikar, the woman is not considered the primary part of the house. Shebnei Basin to draw the members of the household after her. Avoish, but the husband, the father, the patriarch, maybe they are drawn after him. It's not clear. Do Ulai Zelke greater or the greater, because maybe this is drawn after those who are drawn after, which is too far to go down the tone pole. Because he's being drawn after his shul. They're being drawn after him. The law mean greater, we don't say there's drawing after drawing. But in the majority of the city, like we said before, by Ner Yisrael, Kibul Shabbos except the Shabbos, the Oz Kulam Amiyut, then all the minority, Ben Anoshim, Ben Noshim, both men and women, Asuras and Malacha, they are forbidden to Malacha, and if they didn't like candles yet, they should light through a non-Jew. Wow. Shabura says, when you tell a non-Jew to light, you're not supposed to make a bracha. Chav Gimel. Chav Gimel is actually tomorrow. That's it. Chav Beis is the end for tonight.